Good morning, everybody. Welcome to December. It is Monday, December 1st. This is our regular staff meeting. And I would start off with item 2 on the discussion on the agenda is the warrant review. Misty, do you have any corrections on the warrant review? Are there questions on page 1 of 1?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I was just wondering what the Leaf Associates Incorporated for 8,400. I could not tell what that was.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Every year we have to have an audit of our self-funded health insurance plan. And PMCH requires this as part of their audit. So Leaf Associates is the group that they're out in Denver, I believe, that does this. Every other year, they do an in-depth review of it. And this is the in-depth review here.
Thank you.
Any questions on page 1? Page 1 of 7 on the next, on the more detailed charges. Any questions on page 1 of 7? Page 2 of 7.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
very last item for detention, just above that. I see that we have a toilet change out for $174.81. I was wondering if that was one of the non-breakables, or if that was, do you have what I'm talking about there?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I am unaware of this particular item. I know the sheriff just came in, but I'm going to have to defer to the sheriff.
So tell me, Mike, where is this on page 2 of 7?
Yeah, page 2 of 7,
That's the last.
the very last entry.
It's a lot of plumbing and heating.
It's a lot of plumbing and heating.
Okay.
Last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Levi Dominguez, Sheriff, County Sheriff. I don't have an answer right now. I have to get back with our facilities, Scott, and see what that was. But it could be a plethora of things. It could have been something in the jail or something within there. So
That's what I was kind of thinking, but I wasn't positive about it.
I'll forward an email on to you later today.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Levi. Moving on page 3.
Chairman?
Yep.
I was hoping under emergency management, there was a line for Apex Communications handheld radio repair, and all it says on it is damaged in the Elk fire. Can you give a little bit more to that? What happened with that?
Under emergency management?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
Morning, Jesse, Emergency Management. Chairman, Commissioner Jennings, the radio itself, all the radios that I have in storage for emergency response, it was loaned, all of those radios were loaned out. And when I got this particular radio back to reprogram it, one of the switches on the top were broken. And so it had to be sent in for repair.
Okay, so we don't necessarily know who broke it or damaged it.
Correct. Yeah, no, it was part of the large cash that went out during the Elk fire. So there was no, we don't know who loaned and who borrowed that particular radio. Could have been a plethora of individuals and it just came back broken, so I had to repair it.
Do we not do any kind of like sign out sheet? I realize it's radio, but you know, if we've got a large number of items, because obviously, you know, $660 for repair, it'd be kind of nice to know, hey, who broke this?
Yeah, so how it works with the incident management team is they make a request for equipment, whatever equipment we have. And then we submit that equipment to them, and then they're responsible for the equipment, and what they do with it from there is their process. So again, it was part of the cash that went out during that fire, and who they assigned it to was it's at their discretion and stuff. So unfortunately, I didn't notice that one switch broke until significantly after the fire. I'm sure if I would have seen it earlier, I could have maybe billed them for the damage, but that's already been closed out, unfortunately.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
as part of that reimbursement for services, we do get reimbursed from those entities for the rental or the usage of it. So we don't usually go back on them. If there's a damage, we use that income as an offset.
Mr. Chairman, that income would be enough to replace the item if it was damaged beyond repair.
More than enough, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, for example, we had our communications tower that was used during that, and tens of thousands of dollars were reimbursed for the use of that one particular piece of equipment. But in each individual radio, repeater, all those kind of things was requested, and then they pay a fee to use those, as Cameron explained.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Other questions on page 3? Moving on page 4. And page 5. Page 6.
Mr. Chairman, I have several questions on this page. The first of which, actually, Jesse, I should have just had to stay up here. My first question is not so much what it was for. It was obviously for a toolkit for the weather stations to put them down. I guess my question is, do we not have any kind of, I don't know, understanding with like road and bridge or even maintenance, building maintenance, to maybe use their tools instead of just buying all brand new?
Yeah, so I have to go out and do maintenance on those on a regular basis. Monthly, we have to go out and check on those to keep costs down and not paying a contractor like WBC to do that work for me. I would have to use those on a regular basis. I have borrowed tools from Road and Bridge and maintenance before, but this would be on a regular basis. And I don't know when I would actually need them, because it's not until I get out there to look at them and manage them, do I end up needing them? So, and how long I'll need them is just not always known. Sometimes it's a couple of days or a day, not really sure. So, as part of it also we covered under the grant costs for those tools. It's a few $100s, I think, is what it was. So, I know a lot of times, especially Road and Bridge, like the mechanics and stuff, they don't like to allow us to use their tools on a regular basis because they're very particular about their equipment, and they purchase them a lot of times themselves. So, that was just part of the grant agreement, and then also it would just be used on a regular basis.
I think that's all I had for you.
Okay.
My other questions, I believe, are for, this would probably be for public health. So. Yes.
What's your question?
Okay, but mostly I had questions on the Maverick gas cards. I asked about this not too long ago of safeguards in place for them. Yes.
Good morning, Ann
Yes.
Perkins, Sheridan County Prevention and Community Service Block Grant. Commissioner, through you, this is for Bighorn County, again, purchased, and these go out to the clients. And there is a form that we document that they fill out, so we have that record of who receives those.
Okay, that's very good, because as I mentioned in the email that I sent to you not too long ago, I was reading that gas cards are one of those big items that tend to lend themselves to fraud, because anybody can give them out or not give them out. They can use themselves and say, hey, I gave them out. So the other one I had was for, I don't know if you can answer this one or not, 2025, 2026 sponsorship invoice grant. It says Grant Play Fly LLC. I'm just wondering, it looks like it's a sponsorship for a sports
something, is it $2,500?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner, through you. This is for prevention, and 10 counties in the state. We put together a sponsorship working with WISA, the Wyoming High School Activities Association, voting 988. And I can send you some documentation. Our first event was at state volleyball. We've also been at state football. We'll be at all the culminating events promoting 988 as that crisis and lifeline number. So it's a collaboration with 10 of us across the state. We had great feedback, great visibility, and really this was approved by the Department of Health at that level. And so all the checks with balances were there.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Perkins, so this is paid for through a state grant, I'm assuming,
This is through my prevention grant.
through prevention. Okay. All right, thank you.
Other questions on page 6? Moving on to the totals on page 7. Hearing no more questions, moving on to the airport accounting. Any questions on the airport? Moving on to the next item on the agenda is the staff and elected reports. I call Mark Reed, County Planner.
Morning, commissioners. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Just a busy week this week. Obviously, it's application week, as I call it. We've got a couple items. In addition to a third item, apparently, you have a letter from Ramaco requesting a temporary quarry permit extension for the what is known as the Unified Taylor Quarry. You considered this also back in June and did grant them an extension of 6 months, and now they're before, well, this is a separate party. Before the application came from the owners of the property at that time. Today, this consideration, I guess, is from Ramaco themselves. So, new owner involved. There is an existing active quarry that's being operated by Wagner Services right now. So, anyway, it's up to you folks how you want to do that. The intent of the extension is to allow them the opportunity to prepare a new application for their quarry. And so the old one, the original one, was for a 10-year period and was originally agreed in 2015 and obviously 2025 that expired. So anyway, whichever way you want to go on that, that's fine. And then also you have the CUP tomorrow for the Bighorn Rec Center, as well as the rezone from Clearwater Land and Minerals from A to rural residential. And then the P&Z has an extensive event as well on Thursday. So, yeah, so if you have any questions, I can try to answer now or later. Be happy to fill you in on it, whatever I might know about it. There's a lot of things I don't know about them, so I do defer to the applicants themselves on all these things. So anyway, that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, on the quarry extension,
Yes.
so would that be, there's not a application that they fill out for an extension, they can just do it via a letter? like
Yes,
they do
yeah.
there? Okay,
It's simply a letter form that we received and
okay,
folks got last week.
all right, yeah, I read that, okay,
So,
thank you.
Any details on that particular quarry? Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions for Mark?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Ken?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Misty?
Chairman Wright, Commissioners, good morning. Katie Harris, Sheridan County Treasurer. I was recently notified that one of my employees is resigning her position effective December 5th, 2025. Therefore, I respectfully request approval to fill the vacant Deputy Treasurer position caused by this resignation. This position is already budgeted for the current fiscal year, and filling it will help us maintain our current level of service to the public, support my staff in taking necessary time away from work, reduce burnout and additional turnover.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
for discussion, I would move to approve the
Second.
treasurer's request.
Second,
The motion and a second. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm in favor of this because Treasurer Harris I hear all the time about how amazing your staff is. Specifically, how quickly you get people in and out. And you have very few staff, so I'm in favor of it.
Anybody else? Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes. There you go, Katie.
Perfect. Thank you guys very much. In closing, I just want to thank the public for their patience during the staffing transition. Our team continues to work hard to serve efficiently and effectively. So I want to note during this time, if we're assisting customers in person and you're noticing that your call's going unanswered, please know we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Lunchtimes can be a busy period and wait times can be longer due to the reduced staffing and higher visitor volume. To help minimize inconvenience and to make things easier for the public, we provided quick access to common information on our website. And anytime people are welcome to email questions to our dedicated email address, which comes directly to me and it's listed on our website. And I aim to address questions as quickly as I can, sometimes even same day, just to kind of help people out. And then finally, I'd like to echo what Holly said. Commissioner Jennings. Finally, I'd like to thank my staff for their hard work during this transition and every day. They consistently step up and I truly appreciate their commitment to keeping things running smoothly. So thank you guys.
Very good. Thank you, Katie. Dr. Bird, do you have anything right now?
No, sir.
Ann, anything else?
No.
Renee?
No, sir.
Jesse, anything else?
No, sir.
Kimber?
Nothing new this week.
Kelly? Kenny?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Levi? Clint?
No.
Cameron?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, just an update on the heated sidewalk. This was the first real test of the season and 2 sections did fail. So we're bringing in Weston as part of the project. So it's 1 section, it's zone 2 that seems to have an air pocket in it. And they'll come and get that taken care of.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Jennings?
The only thing I have is I might be out to do some quick hunting later on this week, so we'll see.
Okay. Starzy?
No, I don't have anything on that. Or, well, I do, but I mean, you know.
Just one. Morning's like that. Commissioner Siddle?
I'm good, thank you.
Commissioner?
No, sir.
I don't have anything else. Next item on the agenda is to consider requests from the Sheridan County Coroner to oversee the administrative and investigation functions of the indigent burial program under Wyoming Statute 7-4-207, and I would call Dr. Bird, our Sheridan County Coroner.
Good morning, Commissioner. Robert Bird, Sheridan County Coroner. We're going to talk about the indigent, and it's really indigent unclaimed program. And we're just requesting that that program be placed or managed in the coroner's office. So let me just give you a little briefing on the unclaimed part first. Unclaimed. The disposition of the body, which is usually the coroner call, we have to notify next of kin. That's primary, that's statute. It's one of our rules. We get in a situation where we have a body that's unclaimed. What do we mean by that? Under the Wyoming statute 7.2-207, the disposition of a body and the effects of the deceased, the coroner investigates the death whose body is not claimed by a friend or relative within 5 days.
he shall cause the body to be decently buried. The expense of the burial shall be paid from the property found with the body. If no property is found, expenses of the burial shall be paid by the county, which is an investigation occurs. All unclaimed decedents or coroner cases per the Wyoming statute, regardless of their circumstances, and that's the Wyoming statute 7.2207. Due diligence must be completed in attempting to find next of kin for the unclaimed, and we continue to do that continuously, even though sometimes it's fruitful and we can't find anybody. Sheridan County issues a new release regarding unclaimed since after 5 days the body is buried or cremated. Should next of kin be located after interment, they are responsible for disinterment at any cost associated with that. Regardless of unclaimed or indigent, coroner's office is not responsible for payment. Wyoming statute 7.4207A, the Wyoming statute 18-3 504C states the county commissioners are responsible for the costs associated with the unclaimed and indigent descendants. Only the county commissioners can submit a claim for reimbursement. That's the unclaimed part. Pretty simple. Then we get into the other part, is the indigent one, which is the one that has a little bit different definition. It's a person who dies without sufficient means of his own estate or resources to provide burial or cremation. Under the Wyoming statute 18-3504, powers and duties of the county commissioners. Each of the county commissioners shall provide for burial of human remains to any deceased individual not receiving personal opportunities for assistance. Being indigent does not make a death this is important, the coroner's case by statute. Okay. It is a coroner case when we do the investigation, but once it becomes an indigent case, we don't have the jurisdiction. It is the responsibility of the next of kin to certify or submit an affidavit attesting to the indigents when making the application. Funeral homes may also act as an agent for the next of kin when completing a request. Indigent remains are not the property of the coroner. However, we house the individual in the coroner's office until we decide to release. After a thorough investigation, the coroner cases are released for disposition of next of kin where indigence is declared. The coroner's office cannot declare a deceased indigent. I want to make it very clear. We, the coroner's office, can't declare it as indigent. This function is a county commissioners as they obtain access to real estate property owned by the deceased to help assert the indigence. Wyoming statutes 4-2103, no board of county commissioners shall be responsible for any burial or cremation expenses over the amount under the section, and currently it's $22.95. Expenses occurred by the board under this section at the end of the fiscal year, at least by August 1 of each year, the county may request reimbursement. The family retains custody of the remains. But from our experience, we have families that don't want to have anything to do with it. So our first job is to, when there's a death, to find next of kin. In that process, we ask next of kin, is there any financial responsibility that you want to take on this? If they say no, we haven't seen it for 20 years, we don't want to be financially responsible for it. Then we notify the administrator of the county and say this is going to go indigent. Okay. Where's the process? Both of these programs, unclaimed and indigent, are designated for cremation. Okay. Cremation is done by the funeral home. Coroner's office can't. And I said, by a funeral home. I didn't say a selected funeral home, by a funeral home. So this funeral home could be picked locally, Casper, Gillette. So pretty much is coroner's office would be acting as an agent through the administrator to help with this process. We've been doing this for the last 4 years, notifying next of kin. I think when you really look at it, the only thing I can see is we probably need to tighten up. We usually ask the family to send us an email to say that they don't want to have nothing to do with it financially before the coroner doesn't declare, before you're notified that it is an indigent request. I think we need to have a little better, like an affidavit. The statute is asking us to do for the family. So what I'm asking is, or saying, we've been doing this, we do this, about 97% of the coroner cases are coroners, if they become indigent or unclaimed. We think the program would be, the best fit would be in our office. And it would be easier to manage, and it'd be easier to present to you, Mr. Chair, and the commissioners, the program itself, how we're doing. When it comes down to cremation, yes, county has to pay. However, at the end of the year, Jeremiah sends a notice out that and he would like those cases. He will not pay on those cases, not unless there's a burial application filled out by the coroner. Okay. So the coroner's office, even though it has to step apart the indigent, it can stay full throttle on the unclaimed. When you circle, you come back, the coroner still has to sign the document. And when that document is signed, the county gets reimbursed by the executive commissioner, Jeremiah. Any questions?
Questions for Dr. Bird?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bird. So there's a portion of the indigent program that says the county will recoup the cost of the burial, from statute 21204. Is your office currently doing that? And if they aren't, do they have the means to do that? Because it sounds like when you're talking about that, it's talking to banks, talking to property.
Yeah,
owners,
and that's
things like that.
that's a real key point is with the indigent thing is you just can't just jump into a banking account. And the property management is, if the commission is declared indigent, then that property, if they live in an apartment, has to be moved, cleared out, and stored. Okay. And then, or vehicles, you need titles. If there's no title, you can ask the clerk to redo the title for it. So all those possessions will belong to the county, not us. We'll just try to manage it for you, which we have in the past at times. And then somewhere along the year, at the sale of auction, the county gets reimbursed for that too. So, but I think the key thing is filing it correctly on the burial application so that there's no loss or wait time when the executive commissioner Jeremiah asked for, the number of indigents we have. Now, what's our numbers? I have a spreadsheet. I think we had 5 or something like that this year. That's a little high. Usually 1 or 2. The hiccup is if it's unclaimed, we ask the funeral home to say, cremate the remains. We want the cremation back. We'll do the disposition as far as giving them back or interred, either at the city cemetery, which they have an area, which we can put indigent and unclaimed. If it's a veteran, it's a whole different process. But what we do is, number one, we get that DD 214. Everybody knows what a DD 214 is. Okay. Every person served in the military or is discharged from the military will have a DD 214. So where you have to get that. Usually you get it from the VA. A lot of times is the VA will say they don't have a file. Then you have to go to another resource. Department of Defense would have to be. So there's a time delay in getting that. 2 items that they need down at Oregon Trails, Veteran Cemetery. 1, they need the application. We fill out the application. 2, they need that DD 214. And from there, we can transport down to there. We have done both. We have transported down ourselves and with an escort of combat vets and mountain warrior veterans. So.
Mr. Chair.
Other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of along the lines of what Commissioner Jennings was asking, but it sounds like, the work that's currently being done for that indigent kind of investigation position, the program position, is more than just getting an email from the family saying, we don't want the body.
It is.
So, and I'm kind of a numbers person, and we didn't talk about this as a part of the budget. And I'm wondering how many hours we're talking about with the investigative work. I mean, it's going to depend on the case. But yeah, what would your estimate be that this would add per case, what that looks like?
Finding next of kin takes, or sometimes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. And sometimes we don't find anybody until after there's an interment. And then all of a sudden somebody reads a notice, but they're not the next of kin, ex-wife. We just let them know that if it's a veteran, they're buried down in the veteran cemetery.
I guess
Yes.
my concern is it's going to cost, if we're paying somebody in the coroner's office hourly, it's going to cost more than the $250 that it costs us now. And that's information I would like to have to make the decision.
Just regular duty hours. That's the time we have, regular duty hours. And that's something that we're doing right now with our cases right now, notifying next of kin. And preparation for disposition is releasing the body if we have all the information. We're utilizing, you give us an 8-hour day clock. We're not going to spend the extra hours, overtime. Overtime seems to be biting us in the rear end once in a while.
Yeah.
But we can, I have 3 staffers, 3 deputies that can do this. Is once the key, I think Commissioner the thing is once we notify next to kin, we kind of know which way we're gonna go with this. If we can't notify next to kin, then we just say, hey, this is unclaimed, we still know that route. So we can plan on that. I mean, it can be short and it can be long, you know, but you know, we can do it in an 8-hour day. And, you know, you say 250, you know,
I guess it's just scope that we didn't talk about in terms of the budget.
yeah, because it's, you know, when you think of indigent, it's, again, understand you, it's not my program. It's really your program.
Right, because I'm
See,
reading in this contract, that in accordance with the Wyoming Administrative Procedure Act, that applicant means the funeral home submitting an application under section 4 of these rules and regs for reimbursement. So I'm just not sure how we get around that, and it's not clear to me the dollars we're talking about. I guess those would be my concerns.
I don't see extra money other than a tank of gas, maybe to transport the remains either down to the veteran cemetery. And for a tank of gas, that's not very much when a veteran puts his life on the line for this country. So, I mean, let's try not to put dollars and cents when we move veterans like that.
Yeah,
But hours, you know, we spend hours and we have, you know, I mean, the argument is again, it is your part of your program. So that's decision that's totally up to you. We're just saying that we can do it a little better, a little healthier, and try to not to keep it so controversial when it comes down to cremation and movement. So,
Mr. Chairman? Yeah. Dr. Bird, my question is, so we have a contract right now, and you're saying that you guys do a lot of the same, so are we having a lot of duplication of services here between what is being done outside of our coroner's office and what's being done in our coroner's office? Are we doing a whole lot of duplication of services here?
we try to stay in our lane on that.
Okay.
We really try to. And like I said, once we figure out which pathway we're going, if it's unclaimed, pretty much it sits in our, you know, our queue until we're all done. Indigent, it's a matter of contacting the family and saying, which way do you want to go? And if they say, hey, we don't want any responsibility, then we just have to let the commission know.
Right.
That the family doesn't want any financial responsibility out of it. You make the determination from that point on. And so we're here to help.
And so the issue becomes, especially the 5-day timeline that you talked about there.
Yeah.
If you can't find anyone in 5 days, then I assume that's when it goes to indigent, is that
No,
correct?
it goes to unclaimed.
Unclaimed.
We'll do the indigent is if we will try to make contact with the family. And we do, the office does pretty good. We put some good man hours in. We can usually find a family member. They might not be the one to be financially responsible. Or they might have another comment and say, we don't want to have anything to do with it.
Right.
So again, it falls back to your decision on how you want to approach that. We're here, the coroner's office is here to help make this wheel run smoother. That's in the energy side. It comes down to cremation. Okay?
So, Mr. Chairman, and Dr. Bird, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but there's a whole list of things that are discussed as part of the work that's currently being done that, you know, that we haven't even touched on. It's more than just the cremation decision.
Sure.
And it just looks like it's a lot of hours.
It's a lot.
Entering and securing a person's home, respectfully sorting belongings, opening safes, drawers containing final pieces of someone's life, contacting estranged, out-of-state or incarcerated family members, coordinating with hospitals, prisons, military departments, landlords, preventing theft, damage, and loss of property. So, and so that's my question. It's not just a few hours for just one person to pick up, and with the turnaround time, it has to be done pretty quickly. And I don't see how we wouldn't run into some overtime issues in some of those situations.
I mean, overtime's on my radar screen, it's top priority, and we're monitoring that, man. Let's like every time we go out, every time we start our day, we started a new week, we'll monitor. Last week we monitored. We have 3 cases, so the overtime part, we have to have a good reason. And it would be for you to challenge me why we're doing overtime on these 2 type of entities under this program. Should be, it's regular duty time. So,
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Bird, kind of, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, you're saying, we have a full-time person who is at the coroner's office. Are you saying that that person, because I believe they're the only full-time person, or yourself, instead of us paying the $250 for someone else, the hours that someone is maybe at the office because they're full-time could be used to go and sort property, as Commissioner Haswell was speaking about, and trying to recoup some of the costs as
Yes.
it talks about in statute 2.1. So you're not expecting to see actually even stronger, you won't allow overtime for this particular project. And on average, you said 5 this year. Do you know how many cases we had last year? Or possibly the year before?
Cameron, you might help me out, but I think it was 3, I think.
We do it based off of the fiscal year for submitting to the WCCA. The last year, we had 5 cases. We had 2 that our current investigator was able to recoup funds on. So those didn't get submitted. 1 was rejected by the coroner's office, wouldn't sign the document for, so there was only 2 submitted for. The maximum reimbursement is $1,500 per case. They had too many cases in the state, so they were only reimbursing at 80% of that. So we did not receive $22.95 back from the state on each of them.
Mr. Chairman, one other question for you, Dr. Berg. If this was to move forward, would this be something that you would be willing to say, hey, I'm gonna do this for a year, if you'll allow me? And after a year, if we're seeing way too many expenses, would you be willing to allow it to go back to outside investigative or?
I totally agree. If we are not doing it, to your specs, or, we're spending too many hours, by all means. It's, like I said, you have the authority, it's your program. We're just here to help move your program and, get some into it. So, yeah, by all means, it's, we don't want to say it's ours. It is by statute, it's yours. So, there's a lot of little spokes on that. Especially, filling out the death certificate. Who's gonna fill out the death certificate? I fill out the death certificate. We have the coroner and a deputy who are registrar. We can actually start the death certificate and finish the death certificate. Financial stuff. That might be an expense you might see because I think I used my only coin with Vital Records to get a death certificate. So I don't know if they would issue me an official, and you have to have official one to get into the financial institutions. I have to get in conversation with them on that to see if I can get an official one. But if we don't, then we have to get online and order them just like the funeral home does. And it's just a small expense, I think $45 per certificate. So, and that certificate will open up the financial part. And what do we do with those funds? We bring those funds right back to you and you distribute them how you want, or put them in an account,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
currently with the program that we have right now, the investigator also takes care of some of the disposal of assets, so that the funds come back to the county. I don't want to get into a situation where if the coroner's office is taking over this, that the assets end up going to maintenance and it becomes my responsibility to sell off everything. That's an added expense that isn't being budgeted or even looked at in any of these.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Again, I would feel much more comfortable. I'd like to circle back with our current investigator and get a sense of the hours she's spending on these to truly understand what it's going to cost, what time it's going to take away from your deputies' regular working hours.
No, that's fine.
I know we're getting close budget-wise, and that would just make me feel better. I'd like to table this.
Mr. Chairman, Cameron, could you tell me, you said in the fiscal year we had 5 cases, so how much total money did we pay through the contract that we have, the outside contract that we have to do this? So was that 5 cases, a total of $1,250 then?
Mr. Chairman, that would be correct on the investigative side, $22.95 for each case to the funeral home for the cremation. And then the reimbursements that we receive back from the funeral home is after they've gained assets and they will send those checks back. So we stop calculating them as indigent for reimbursement to the state once we recruit the $22.95 and the $250. Anything above that the county gets is, a bonus, for lack of any other words. So that was last year. The year before that, we had 0 cases because we were able to get reimbursement through K for the whole thing. So it just depends on the year. I think the most we've done is maybe 7 or 8. But Dr. Bird is correct. It's usually anywhere from 3 to 5.
And commissioners, Cameron brings up a good point is what this program is the assets. If somebody's living in an apartment and they have furniture there, where do you put it? That's say with the storage. We don't have the space down there. So what we did on one case is, and it really wasn't indigent or unclaimed. We rented a storage locker until the family could get out and recover the personal items. Okay. And it was, I think it ran us $40 because we only had it for 2 months. So probably $80 total. So that's something you have to consider as it's cleaning out if they live in an apartment, because apartment complex wants to rent the apartment out and refinish it. So they want those assets of the deceased out of there, right? As soon as possible. So who takes the responsibility of removing all of that and storing it somewhere? So,
okay,
we've experienced it on all different ends, so.
No, Chairman.
Yeah.
That has to be a secured lockdown type of storage. And
Yes.
just one dedication for it as well. I mean, we couldn't put it in county storage or anything anywhere. So we'd have to have, it would have to be its own lockdown.
That would be up to you guys.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
It does not need to be a secured, it can be a locked facility, it can be a locked storage area, but it does not have to be as secured in the way that you're asking. Because the assets that we would be trying to sell are, they belong to the county, but it's just to be turned around and sold. So it does not have to go through TPATS.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I actually would like to follow up along the lines of Commissioner Haswell's suggestion to table. I think it would be very helpful, like you said, to hear the hours, but also to hear from your department some of the things that we've talked about of what do you think the numbers will be for storage? What do you think, how you might have somebody, clearing out apartments, just giving us some hours of what you guys think it will, and then we can compare and contrast.
Sure. That's
Is
fine.
that a motion?
Actually, Commissioner Haswell already made the motion, I believe.
Not really, she said
I
really.
just prefer to, but I would move to table, I don't know, to staff 2 weeks from now. Is that enough time?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Second,
A motion and a second. Other discussion? All's in favor of tabling this, you signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Be tabled for 2 weeks. With that, we're going to be adjourned at 9:15.
Thank you.
Dr. Burke?